Hello, vinyl community. Curtis Young here with Young LP Lovers. What are your thoughts around Japanese vinyl? Now, personally, I like Japanese vinyl, but now there's a couple of issues with Japanese vinyl. Some people say that the mastering on Japanese vinyl is not as good as the home country of origin, right, where it was mastered. Whereas other people will say that Japanese vinyl is superior to vinyl from, say, the US or from the UK for a number of reasons. So let me get into it. I've got a couple of reasons down here. I've got like 5 reasons. Okay, so number one is the quality of the vinyl, especially during that when vinyl was king. Yeah, so say back in the mid 70s. What was happening? So get into global politics a little bit. We've got the oil embargo in 73. Yeah, 73. Uh, Oil prices are rising all throughout the 70s and even into the early 80s. So companies are looking for cheaper ways to manufacture vinyl, and so they start using a lower grade vinyl, using recycled vinyl and so forth. Whereas the Japanese market is still using purer formula, more virgin type vinyl. So that tends to give the Japanese pressings a lower noise floor, so they're quieter on average. Okay, that's not always true, of course. So that's number one. Number two is smaller batches. Yeah, so the Japanese market for American and or sort of Western music is smaller than in the U.S. or in the U.K. or Canada. Uh, there's just fewer people listening to rock and roll and blues and country and so forth. But I think more importantly, with the smaller batches, so people think that the pressers don't get used as much. I don't know. You get 1,000 records out of a presser, 1,500 out of a stamper. But if you're selling 20,000 records or even 10,000 records, you're going to need a few different stampers, right? So maybe that last stamper is not going to be used up as much. But I think more importantly then is the quality control. If you're only pressing 10,000 versus 100,000, you're able to check the quality of those records much better. And Japanese records are very well known for their quality control. So that would be my number three. Number four is packaging. Nice, thick cardboard covers, sometimes with alternative art, occasionally, but also with inserts. You'll almost always find Japanese liner notes with both lyrics in English and Japanese. So that's cool. If you like, I love having the lyrics, so that's a big bonus for myself. And then I think lastly are sort of cultural practices. Japanese took care of their records better than we did in the West. Um, there's a variety of reasons for that, but whenever I'm buying used records from Japan, I can be pretty sure that I'm going to get a decent record, and they grade them better as well, in my experience. All right, so let's get into it. I've got 8 records here that Japanese issues, so you're getting all those benefits, but you're not having to worry about the mastering because the mastering was done in the UK or the US in these particular examples. So you're getting the best of both worlds. All right, so let's get into it. Number one. All right, so here we have Simon and Garfunkel's Concert in the Park. This is the latest of the issues I'll show you today. This is 1982. So right around, sorry, I had a pop-up on my screen. Anyway, right around where the vinyl prices are actually peaking, or sorry, not vinyl prices, oil prices are peaking. So what can I tell you? So this is actually using US stampers with sterling in the dead wax. You can see here we've got, this is the double LP. It's on the Griffin Records label. As I mentioned, you can tell it's a US pressing because it has sterling stamped into the dead wax. So that's one. It sounds great. It sounds absolutely great. It's a live recording, of course, so it's not going to be the best audiophile quality, but it does have the Obi. Now, I'm not a huge fan of the Obi. I think it takes away from the cover art, and so I hate when new issues, new releases use the Obi. I'm like, why? I get it for a Japanese market. It's marketing. I don't like when they do it now. Just put an extra insert or something. I don't know. I take it off. Anyway, that's neither here nor there for today's video. So that's one, and really cheap, really great sound quality. You can get that on Discogs today for a really affordable price. Next up, we have Fleetwood Mac Rumors. This was the record that started me down this path, actually. Probably the best sounding record in my collection. The cover is a little beat up. It's got a nice big seam split here. It's a little yellowed, but it is a nice thick jacket. It's slightly textured, not like embossed or anything, but it's a little bit, you can feel the texture on it. And in fact, the inserts are also textured, nice card stock. I don't know if you can hear through the, can you hear that? It's nice and thick. Anyway, there's your Japanese liner notes and your Japanese lyrics. Oh, here we go. Trying to reduce the glare there. Because English lyrics are on the inside here. And this is actually the record that got me started on seeking out. I was actively seeking out these Japanese pressings with imported stampers. So this has Mastered by Capitol in the dead wax, telling us that it is a US pressing of Rumors. So this was after watching Mike Esposito's Shootout video. Now, I don't have anything to compare any of these records to, so keep that in mind when I'm talking about the quality. But it's in near mint condition, despite the cover, but it sounds amazing to me. So, and cheap, you know what I mean, $20 Canadian will get you that one. All right, let's go to some Led Zeppelin now then. Led Zeppelin Presence. So after finding the Rumors, you get online and I start looking through the forums, particularly the Hoffman forums, and I find an ongoing list that's being built with these pressings on it. So you can check that out. Again, this is Japanese. I don't have the obi for this one. Most of them I don't have the obi because I don't really care. I like to have the album complete, but I'm after the best sounding record for my few dollars that are getting fewer and fewer as I'm between jobs right now. It's got the embossed Led Zeppelin here and the swan, angel, whatever you call it there. And no obi on this one. Again, I'm not a huge fan of the obi, so I'm looking for the best sound quality for the price. So the inside here is a little bit stained. The exterior looks really good. So Presence, 1976 US stamper. And you can identify that because it says, with help from Tom at Atlantic Studios. Yeah, so that's what you're looking for on this one. And again, to me, it sounds amazing. I've never compared it with another copy. There's your inner sleeve, nice and thick again. Your Japanese liner notes and your lyrics on the back, which is kind of cool to have. And again, this one certainly won't cost you a lot of money. Next up, we've got Into the Outdoor. This is cover variant F, if my notes are correct. How many cover variants were there? A, B, C, D, E, F. That's 6. There's at least 6, I guess. Anybody have all 6? I do like that. Zeppelin's always great for their cover designs. Yeah, so this is using UK stampers. Yeah, so this can be identified by strawberry. Strawberry is in the dead wax. And again, with the Japanese liner notes, English lyrics, and the printed inner sleeve on that really thick cardboard, which is nice to have. Next Led Zeppelin I have for you is Song Remains the Same. And this was actually a rental record. Can you believe that? Yeah, like from a library, I'm guessing, or I don't know, something like that. This is embossed on the back and on the front, just this part here. And again, it comes with all the things you're expecting from the Japanese. So the liner notes and the English lyrics. You've got the booklet with the photos from the movie. I'm sure all the issues had this. And then your two LPs. So this is a US stamper. And so this is a bit tricky one actually, because it's not as obvious, at least it's not for me, unless you know your pressing plants and your matrices. I guess it's the PR that you're looking for in brackets, ST-SS-763685G PR. Okay, so that's the same stamper as the US edition. One other thing, now I wasn't able to get confirmation on this, but most Japanese pressings, you'll see JIS, Japanese Industrial Symbol, maybe. It's like a circle, and it's kind of it's cursive, but it goes J and then I and then S, kind of all together. Most of these do not bear that stamp. Okay, so I wasn't able to definitively say whether lacking that can tell you that it's a imported stamper or not, but I think almost all of these do not bear that symbol, so it's a bit coincidental if not. Okay, next one. We've got Deep Purple. So I've got Live in Japan. Okay, so not to be confused with Made in Japan. Okay, so same track listing, but this one, Made in Japan, or sorry, Live in Japan. Made in Japan was what we got in North America and I think the UK as well. Made in Japan was over 3 different nights, 2 nights in Tokyo and 1 night in Osaka. This, however, is one show only, August 17th, 72. I can't remember where it's at though. I think it's the Tokyo show, but I can't be sure of that. Yeah, and so slightly different album, I guess. Yet, this does use UK stampers, okay? Even though it's different than the album that was available in the UK. So I guess it's kind of a Japanese-only issue. And we know it is, so this actually isn't the first pressing of this either, which is interesting. This is actually only a 3rd pressing from 74, 3rd issue. But it does have Porky, so it's 4 sides, right? It's 4 records. So on the first side, it's got Porky, then Delta Porky, and then on the 3rd side, it's got Pico. So indicating that it is a UK pressing. All right, 2 more for you. We have Simon & Garfunkel, Graceland. Actually, sorry, Paul Simon, no Garfunkel. This is after Garfunkel. I love this album. But I was actually disappointed by this one. Disappointing one. I think it's just my particular copy. It's got a lot of like inner groove distortion. It's got some sibilance throughout the album, so I think it might have been played on a bad stylus or something. Because otherwise, this should be really good. But yeah, not so great this particular copy. But anyway, it is a U.S. pressing. So you're getting the idea here. This one also had an advertisement in it. Maybe I just need to give it a good cleaning on it, like an ultrasonic cleaner or something. I don't have an ultrasonic cleaner. Maybe that'd do the trick. But yeah, as it sounds right now, it's not that great. And I waited a long time for this. This just came a couple of weeks ago with my last couple of boxes that I got in our move from China back to Canada. So yeah, this is Sterling, Sterling DMM. DMM? I can't read my own writing, isn't that terrible? DMM, yeah. Yeah, indicating that it is a US pressing. All right, so one more, we'll wrap things up here. So we're going to end with the Eagles. So this is The Long Run from '79 on Asylum. And again, we've got our insert with the English lyrics, as well as the Japanese lyrics, track list, etc. We've got a really thin obi. I don't find this obi takes away from, well, it's just a black cover, right? So it doesn't really take away from the album art too much. So I don't find that one too offensive. This is Sterling is stamped on, and you also have the etching "Never Let Your Monster Lay Down" on side A and side B from the, can I say that? I'm not even going to say that. From the person of Polish descent who sailed north. There you go. Yeah, there we are. So the best of both worlds. You get your Japanese vinyl sleeve quality, nice thick jackets. Oh, I'm gonna take that record out. All your little extras, but you don't lose anything in the mastering. The biggest complaint, I think I mentioned it earlier, but is the bass. The low end, they say, isn't as good on the Japanese pressings. I'm trying to show you how thick and heavy duty this cover is. It's hard to do on camera. Yeah. So what do you think? What do you have Japanese vinyl? Do you enjoy it? Do you notice a difference with the low end? Would you consider Japanese vinyl with imported stampers to be something that you'd like to have in your collection? You can find, maybe I'll even link to the Hoffman's forum down below in case you're interested. Again, they all sound, with the exception of Graceland, they all sound really, really good. Fleetwood Mac, probably the best sounding album in my collection. So take that for what it's worth. Yeah, all right. Thanks for stopping by, folks. I'm going to try to get on here a little bit more frequently. Yeah, lots of love. Peace.